okay, I go back into the room and I tell him that I got the stuff. And so after that, and then we drag my grandma into the bathroom. And
what was the reason for that? Just to bring her to bathrooms?
Yeah, I don't know why we brought her back into the bathroom. I guess we didn't want to bring her into the bedroom.
Okay.
So we just brought her into the bathroom. And then, yeah. And then Johnny. And she, it was kind of creepy because she was like scared to die. Like she herself, repeated herself.
Oh, did she?
It was kind of gross.
This is 17-year-old Cassandra Byorge. Notice how callously she talks about killing her grandparents. She shows no remorse for her actions and even seems kind of proud of what she did. But however horrifying her crimes might sound, she's scarily not the only narcissistic teen killer.
I do have 3 knives in my car. I usually carry one on me, and I just grabbed it.
What happened after you took the knife?
I stabbed him once and it didn't do anything. And I stabbed him again and it didn't do anything. It was still being continued. There was nothing that changed. There's just...
We all know she'll be out in the community one day. That's inevitable. And what kind of person is she going to be? What kind of adult is she going to be? So those are the types of questions I have.
So what did these girls do? What were their motives? And how did they think they would get away with it? Let's explore in this video. On November 11th, 2012, police in Sunbury responded to an incident where a man's body was found brutally murdered in a quiet residential neighborhood. The man was identified as 42-year-old Troy La Ferrera. Troy was married and lived in Port Trenton, Pennsylvania, less than 20 minutes from where his body was found. So what was he doing here? His phone records showed that he had been chatting with an 18-year-old woman named Miranda Barber, who he'd met on Craigslist. The two of them had planned to meet up that day, and he was killed for some secret rendezvous. Miranda, who already had a young daughter, had recently gotten married and moved to Pennsylvania. 3 weeks after Troy's murder, Miranda was brought in for questioning.
The reason you're here is there's a guy was murdered, and his name is Troy La Ferrera.
You answered his ad on Craigslist, right?
Yeah.
What did his ad say?
It implied that you would be paid to go out with this person.
Did it say, was it fully explicit? Or was it going to dinner? I mean, that would be spelled out in a Craigslist ad.
I mean, it was, yes, it was, but
Okay.
I didn't go into it intending to do that.
So you were going to meet up with this guy, make a couple of bucks.
Yes.
Miranda admitted that Troy had offered her money, but claimed that it was just for her company and nothing more. She also claimed that she and Troy never met the night that he was killed.
You on the phone with him at all, or talking to him? Messaging him?
We were messaging back and forth, yes.
Okay.
We were just supposed to meet up at Denny's, but it never happened.
Meeting never happened.
Yes.
Were you involved in, or do you have any knowledge of the death of that guy, the death of Troy?
No.
We didn't just tonight decide, you know what, I want to go talk to Miranda. Something happened, and some information has come.
I understand that, but
Do you understand
my
that?
goal right now is to get back to my daughter.
Our goal is to find the person who killed him,
Yeah.
okay? And you're the last person on his phone.
Actually, Miranda, we gotta take your phone, put it in evidence, and then get a search warrant to go through it.
That's not fair to me at all.
That's what we have to
I
do.
have the right to walk out of here with all of my belongings, which I'm going to
Not with
do.
your phone.
When she realized that the police were looking at her as a suspect, Miranda got extremely defensive.
Take your
I'm
phone.
very offended right now.
I'm sorry.
I
You
have
understand?
I have time. I need numbers. I need my phone numbers.
You understand we have a job to do.
I did not kill that man. I've never met that man in my life before.
I hope not.
I'm a single. I just got married. You guys are coming in my life, questioning me. I'm very offended.
She probably thought that by being upset, the police would think that she was innocent and not insist at looking at her phone. But that's not what happened. In fact, the police were now even more suspicious of her.
I want to go home to my baby who is screaming her head off for me.
We're taking your phone.
Don't touch me. I demand a lick right now. Don't touch me.
Stop.
No.
Stop.
No. Stop. I didn't do anything.
It's interesting how she thought that she was actually going to just storm out of the police station acting all offended, and the police would just let her walk. That quickly backfired. The police later brought in her husband, Elliot Barber, for questioning, and he repeated the same thing that Miranda had told him.
I guess full honesty here, I've never heard of him, and I don't know anything about that, but the only thing I know is that what my wife does is meet with someone who's willing to like just pay you some money to have a nice conversation and sit down. Doesn't provide us anything other than companionship, because that's what they want. And if she was the last person he called, then that means that he was a potential client.
He claimed that his wife was just offering men an ear to listen to, and that they would pay her for her delightful conversation and nothing more. But then some hours later, Miranda came back to the police station and told the police that she did actually meet up with Troy and jabbed him to death. But she claimed that it was in self-defense.
I arranged to meet up with him, and I pulled in the mall. I saw him. He got in my car. Everything seemed fine, and as soon as I put the car in park, everything just completely flipped upside down. I didn't know what to do. He just attacked me.
What was he doing to you?
One hand was on my throat, while the other hand was touching me down there. I do have 3 knives in my car. I usually carry one on me, and I just grabbed it.
What happened after you took the knife?
I once and it didn't do anything, and I again and it didn't do anything. It was still being continued. There was nothing that changed. There's just.
Miranda said that she jabbed him over 20 times until he finally stopped. After that, she and Elliot dumped Troy's body before cleaning the car with bleach and then going to dinner at Red Robin. She then took Elliot out to a strip club for his birthday. But the police were not buying this story and knew that there was something more to it. So they interviewed Elliot again, and this time he told the truth.
This guy was not looking for just companionship. He was looking for sex. She misleadingly sold him through texts. But that was never the intention. The whole intention was to go. Now, yes, I knew she was going to meet him. Yes, I was with her. Yes, I did take part. I'm in the back seat, covered up by a blanket. And she's in the front. He gets in the car, probably around 8. So I pop up with that quarter jaw found on the body. That was me.
Where do you have that cable at? Just right around his body. Around the throat.
So, on the night that Miranda went to meet up with Troy, Elliot was hiding under a blanket in the back seat, waiting. When Miranda gave him the signal, he jumped out and wrapped a cord around Troy's neck as Miranda attacked him with a knife.
It was pretty good.
The same.
In between the headpiece and the bottom is where I tried to angle it up underneath it. I put my feet up against the back and pulled as hard as I could. She said she's in the groin. I think she said she's in the leg. The majority was to the chest. She did say she's in the neck and like went through. And I look, lean forward, and there's just blood everywhere. And she's like, oh my god, I don't know what to do.
The way this heartless monster is casually talking about viciously killing someone is really sick. It just shows his complete disregard for human life and makes me wonder how he would behave if he was the one going through the pain that Troy went through. Even more sickening, he didn't have a reason to do that.
We just decided that we were gonna go. We had no reason, no anything else other than that.
Yeah, disgusting. But this case would get even more bizarre. Out of nowhere, Miranda started talking about being a Satanist, claiming she had murdered over 20 people. As you would imagine, this blew up.
She's a petite, baby-faced teen, now claiming to be one of the country's deadliest serial killers. 19-year-old newlywed and mother Miranda Barber could be facing the penalty for what police call a thrill kill.
Miranda Barber already risks the penalty. Now, though, she's reportedly admitted killing a whole host of people across the United States as part of a satanic cult, saying, "When I hit 22, I stopped counting."
She claimed that she only killed bad people who did bad things, and offered to take the FBI to the places she had hidden the bodies, saying, "They're looking for full bodies. They won't find any, but they will find body parts." She claimed that she dumped some body parts in Big Lake, Alaska, and also in Mexico Beach, Florida, where she worked as a 15-year-old go-go dancer. However, police could not find any evidence to support Miranda's claims and believed that she was just lying for attention.
Officials in Alaska and Pennsylvania note that so far in their states, they have not been able to verify any of Barber's claims.
It's an odd story, actually, because usually when somebody says they did something like this, you can find a little bit more evidence.
False confessors look a lot like serial killers because they share the same motivation. They want to feel powerful and in charge and like big.
Both Miranda and Elliot pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder charges that carried the ultimate sentence. They later pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of second-degree murder and were sentenced to life in prison without parole.
Accused of killing her grandparents inside their Gwinnett County home faced a judge for the first time. She and another teenager are charged with murder.
17-year-old Cassandra Byorge was sick of her grandparents, and they were always scolding her and wouldn't let her do whatever she wanted. So one day, she and her 19-year-old boyfriend, Johnny Ryder, came up with a sick plan. On April 8th, 2017, 63-year-olds Wendy and Randall Byorge were found brutally murdered in their home in Gwinnett County, Georgia. Police made this grim discovery after relatives called asking for a wellness check to be done. A medical examiner ruled the deaths as a homicide, saying that both victims had died as a result of an incision to the throat. They had also suffered blunt force trauma and jab wounds. Evidence at the scene led the police to suspect that Cassandra and Johnny were behind the murders. An arrest warrant was issued for the pair. Police eventually caught up with the suspects at an apartment complex in Suwanee, but they would not go down easily and attempted to end their lives. However, police got to them on time and they were rushed to the hospital for treatment before being taken in for questioning. In the interrogation room, officers tried to make Cassandra feel as comfortable, giving her food and drinks and even joking with her. So when they started asking tough questions, Cassandra was very cooperative because she felt like she was just chatting with friends. They began by asking her about her relationship with Johnny.
Your boyfriend, Johnny? Mm-hmm. How long you date that dude for?
Like 3 months.
3 months. You and Johnny pretty tight? Did you have feelings for him, or just kind of a boyfriend type thing? Or
I had feelings. I still have feelings for him. I care about him. And he said like ever since then, like it was like love at first sight or something. I don't know. I mean, he got married to like this crazy. And then now she's like saying that I'm stalking her when I've only met the girl like twice.
Cassandra had a troubled childhood that led to her developing some behavioral issues. Her grandparents got custody of her in 2016, hoping to give her some sort of stability and take her away from the destructive environment at home. They enrolled her at Peachtree Ridge High School, but Cassandra dropped out and went back to her bad behavior. Police records show that between October 2015 to March 2017, they responded to the Byorge home 31 times for various reasons, 18 of which were runaway calls. They were also called for domestic disputes and illegal substance use. In one incident in 2016, police were called after Cassandra reportedly assaulted her grandmother. Wendy told the responding officer that she and Cassandra were arguing about her granddaughter's behavior, which included staying out late and being disrespectful, and that during the altercation, Cassandra threw water at her. The officer later noted in his report that during his interview with Wendy, Cassandra was very disrespectful and kept interrupting her grandmother.
I guess let's start from scratch about what happened, starting from when you ran away, I guess. Is that the 31st? Do you remember, or 28th or something like that?
I don't really, was it, I didn't really run away. My grandma like kicked me out. I was chilling with Johnny and my other friend Sabrina, and I came home because, you know, it was time for curfew because I didn't want to violate my probation. So I came home, and my grandpa was asleep, and my grandma got really mad at me, and she was like saying like, oh, you know, if you don't like it here, you know, we're just gonna find somewhere else for you to stay. And she just said that out of the blue. Like, she just got really mad for some reason. And so I was just like, if you're gonna find another place for me to stay, I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna find somewhere else to go. So.
And this was basically when you took off, you came back, your grandparents were home, and I guess that's when you had that argument?
Cassandra told detectives that days before the murders, she got into another fight with her grandma after she came home late from hanging with friends. Her grandma kicked her out, and she went to live with Johnny in his car, where they engaged in underage drinking and smoked. It was then that Johnny brought up the idea of killing her grandparents.
I don't really remember, like, I didn't really even know, like, what day it was that we went into the house.
And before you did that, did you and Johnny meet up somewhere at a park or something to talk about what was going on?
We went to Peace Ridge Park, and we talked about it. At first, it wasn't my idea at first.
How did you even get, I guess, what was said? How did you even bring up? What was the context?
He first asked me, are you afraid to die? And I said no. And then I asked him, are you afraid to die? And he said no. He asked me, he was like, would you kill your grandparents? And I kind of like hesitated for a minute. And I was like, why? And he was just like, I don't know. I mean, because he knows probably everything that I've been through with all of my family. And he understands that, you know, like, all I really wanted to do was just kind of get away from everything, kind of just move on with myself. Like, I wasn't having a good relationship with my grandparents. Like, it started getting really bad, you know, like, that I got a charge from them because, you know, like, I fought them, you know. I might have broken, like, my grandpa's ribs when, you know, for that charge for simple assault and simple battery, you know. And it just got really worse. We just kept arguing all the time, and then, I don't know, I guess things like just seemed different. They didn't look at me the same anymore.
Cassandra's reasoning is really chilling. So because she and her grandparents were no longer getting along, she thought it was okay to take their lives? How messed up is that?
When you guys met at the park, did he ever go over the actual plan on how you guys would do it or anything like that? Or like, what was that about?
Well, I mean, we were just trying to figure out how to get money, and because he said that he might have had a warrant, and I didn't know if I had a warrant because, you know, my grandma kicked me out, and then she did the same thing that my mom did. Like, my mom would kick me out, then like a couple days later she would call the cops saying that I ran away when I didn't. We decided, like, you know, we would park down the road, and then the park was literally like right behind my backyard, like the neighborhood park. So I was able to go through the park and then cut through my backyard because there was a fence. Like, there was the trees, then there was my fence, and then there was the house. So you could easily, like, go through the trees, and then there was the little gate that you could go through.
On the night of the murder, the pair waited outside the grandparents' home until the lights were turned off. Then they snuck through the back door and found the grandparents sleeping upstairs.
So when you guys made it to the, I guess, the back door or the back gate, what'd you guys do next? How'd you move up to the house?
Well, we went up the stairs.
The decking stairs?
Yeah,
okay.
The back deck. And my grandma was still up because we got there a little bit early. So we went back down and we were kind of just chilling over where...
the shed is?
Yeah, we were just chilling by the shed. And then we saw that the lights turned out, and then we just like stayed outside for a little bit longer just to, you know, wait. And then I already had the keys to my house because I already had a set of keys, so I was able to unlock the back door.
Cassandra told detectives that when she saw Johnny attacking her grandfather, she felt a surge of energy and dragged her duct-taped grandmother into the bathroom and began attacking her with a tire iron.
Do you hear kind of what's going on over there, and does that kind of cue you off to with your grandmother there?
Yeah, he started going at it, and then, you know, I could hear my grandpa just yelling, you know, them fighting, and then I started getting the rush, and then, like, that's when I started hitting my grandma. She started, like, screaming and stuff, and
Was that the first hit?
Yeah.
The back of the head?
Yeah. She bit me.
These two heartless monsters then made the older couple give them the password to their safe, where they collected around $1,000.
Oh, my grandma, it was kind of weird. Like, she was kind of giving me, like, an idea about it before. Like, she was saying, what if I just gave you $1,000? Would that just make the world a better place? I'm just like, no, I don't want $1,000, you know? So, she kept saying that, and then, like, when I saw it, I was just like, wow, she actually had $1,000 in her safe. Like, that's crazy.
But even after getting what they wanted, they went ahead to mercilessly take the grandparents' lives.
Yeah, I go back into the room and I tell them that I got the stuff, and so after that, and then we drag my grandma into the bathroom, and
What was the reason for that? Just to bring her to the bathroom?
yeah, I don't know why we brought her back into the bathroom. I guess we didn't want to bring her into the bedroom.
Okay.
So we just brought her into the bathroom. And then, yeah. And then Johnny. And she, it was kind of creepy because she was like scared to death. Like she herself and peed herself.
Oh, did she?
It was kind of gross.
But it gets worse. After killing her grandmother in cold blood, Cassandra dragged her body back to the bedroom and then sealed the windows and doors with caulk, apparently to keep the smell of their decomposing bodies from seeping out. Then she and her sicko boyfriend went on to order takeout and invite some friends over for a party. Police said that the older couple had been dead for about a week before their bodies were found. That's pretty messed up, but there's more. Apparently, these sickos plan to kill even more family members.
That's the reason why he asked me if I wanted to kill my grandparents, because he wanted to already kill his family. And he was like, let's be Bonnie and Clyde.
They had even planned to kill Cassandra's mother.
Cassandra Byorge and Johnny Ryder won't be eligible for parole for at least 60 years. The two of them will be almost 80 years old by then.
The now 16-year-old girl is currently in close custody at the Alberta Hospital in Edmonton. In order to begin her reintegration, her treatment team and her lawyers say she needs more exposure to the outside world.
On April 23, 2006, the residents of a small town called Medicine Hat in Alberta, Canada, woke up to some shocking news about 3 family members found murdered in their home. The bodies of 42-year-old Mark Richard and his 48-year-old wife, Deborah, were found in the basement of their home, while their 8-year-old son, Tyler Jacob, was discovered upstairs. During the investigation, police found that Jasmine's mother, Deborah, was the first to be killed and had been knifed at least a dozen times. Mark fought back with a screwdriver, but he was also jabbed to death. Jasmine's little brother was killed with a knife through the neck. But someone was missing. The couple's 12-year-old daughter, Jasmine. Police feared that she might have also been a victim and was laying somewhere dead, or she might have been kidnapped. But nothing could have been further from the truth. Jasmine was found the next day, 81 miles away from home. But she wasn't alone. She was accompanied by her 23-year-old boyfriend, Jeremy Allen Steinke. Yeah, you heard me right. This little girl, who was barely a teenager, was dating a full-grown man almost twice her age. But that's not even the shocking part. The community was horrified when they learned that the 12-year-old girl was involved in her family murders. So what really happened? Jasmine had a normal, happy childhood with loving parents who wanted the best for her. She was said to be a very happy and social girl. That is until she met 23-year-old Jeremy Steinke at a punk rock show when she was just 11 years old. Jasmine was already fascinated with the goth lifestyle and had started wearing dark makeup to appear older than she was. She was also becoming a member of the website vampirefreaks.com. Jeremy, on the other hand, had a troubled childhood with an alcoholic mother and stepdad. He had also faced bullying at school and had attempted to take his own life. By the time he met Jasmine, he had developed an elaborate goth persona, claiming to be a 300-year-old werewolf and wearing a small vial of blood around his neck. He also had an account at the vampirefreaks.com website. Jasmine was really taken by him. They communicated through a popular Canadian social media website called Nexopia. Under the name Runaway Devil, Jasmine falsely claimed that she was 15 and ended with the text, "Welcome to my tragic end." Jasmine's parents were not happy when they found out that their underage daughter was seeing an adult man. They grounded her, hoping to keep her away from Jeremy. But the two were in love and would not let Jasmine's parents come between them. On April 3rd, 2006, Jeremy wrote this on his blog. "Payment. My lover's rents are totally unfair. They say that they really care. They don't know what is going on, they just assume. Their throats I want to slit. Finally there shall be silence. Their blood shall be payment." However, according to police reports, it was Jasmine who first proposed the idea of killing her family. She reportedly wrote Jeremy an email saying, "I miss you more than killing people. Can we get together and kill people? Rawr. I hate them. So I have this plan. It begins with me killing them and ends with me living with you." It's fascinating how often these killers don't think about the consequences of their actions. They always think that they would somehow outsmart the police and get away with their crimes. I don't know if they're delusional or just plain stupid. Anyway, Jeremy was on board with the idea and replied, "Well, I love your plan, but we need to get a little more creative with details and stuff." Jasmine had reportedly also told her friends about her plan to kill her parents, but they either didn't believe her or thought she was joking, but she wasn't. Just hours prior to committing the murders, Jeremy and some friends were reportedly watching the 1994 movie Natural Born Killers, about a young couple who go on a violent killing spree. Jeremy told his friends that he and his girlfriend should go about their plans in a similar manner, but without sparing her little brother. And that's exactly what they did on April 23rd, 2006. After their arrest, Jeremy reportedly told an undercover cop that Natural Born Killer is the greatest love story of all time. He then went ahead to propose to Jasmine, and she said yes. Jeremy was found guilty of 3 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to 3 life sentences, 1 for each victim. He will be eligible for parole after serving 25 years. As for Jasmine, because she was so young when she committed the crime, she only got 10 years in prison, which is the maximum sentence allowed in Canada for convicts under the age of 14. Her sentence was to be followed by 4 years in a psychiatric institution and 4.5 years under conditional supervision in the community.
We have to appreciate, of course, that she's been in custody for 4 years, and it's a big 4 years given that she's now 16. And so certainly there have been a number of changes, and as the treatment team indicated, she's not in a normal situation, and so she's a very different person now.
We all know she'll be out in the community one day, that's inevitable, and what kind of person is she going to be, what kind of adult is she going to be? So those are the types of questions I have.
Jasmine's sentence ended in 2016, and she was freed of any further court-ordered conditions, restrictions, or supervision. What do you think about these cases? Who among these teens do you think is the most narcissistic? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button.